I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Yeah, here we go. It's Tuesday, April 15th. It's another award-winning edition of the Daily Puck Drop. Welcome in, kiddos. How is everybody on this fabulous Tuesday, April 15th? Pay those taxes. Here we go. We are broadcasting inside the Limback Lumber Studios, proud sponsor of the Daily Puck Drop, and, of course, Puck Sports Contractors. They got free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects, the largest stock moldings in the Northwest, old school service, because they've been doing it since 1930. Give Limback Lumber a call, 206-782-3487. Coming up on the show today, Jim Duquette, our MLB Network insider, coming up in a few minutes from right now. Bottom of the hour, we'll talk to Danny Kelly from The Ringer. We will get into the Luis Castillo trade revisited because he's starting tonight against his former team for the very first time. Drew Lock's effect. We haven't talked about Drew Lock. Yesterday's show was all about the Masters with Jim and I, and we never got to the news that Drew Lock is back. That means she's back. That means Natalie's back. Oh, this is great news. But with bringing him back, does that affect what Seattle may do in the NFL draft? We'll get to all that coming up on the show today. If you're watching and listening live, thank you. If you're watching and listening later, again, we go live every single day at 10 a.m. on YouTube and Twitter. Just search Puck Sports. Also, the Puck Sports mobile app. Yes, you can listen to this show. Well, let me make sure I don't have any messages on there. No, sorry. You can listen to this show with the Puck Sports mobile app. See? Look at this. Where is it at? Hold on. Give me a second. Let me pull it up. There it is. Look at that. Can you see it? The Puck Sports mobile app, for God's sakes. You can listen on your phone, walking around, the dogs in the grocery store, in your car. You don't have to listen to the other stuff. You can listen to this. Look. Hold on. The dogs in the grocery store. It's got a little delay as well. Puck Sports mobile app, download it today, iPhone, Android users. Again, if you're watching it live as well, everything gets posted up later. Again, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be wonderful. Also, the favorite podcast platforms, it doesn't matter which one you listen to. It really doesn't. Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. I love YouTube Music because why? You can toggle back and forth between the video and the audio. That's what I like. And always check out pucksports.com. At pucksports.com, you will see the top of the page, a link to the Pucks Posse membership page, by the way, which gets you exclusive content. This week's Sports Pit episode 4 is out. Instant reaction to the Masters, and there was a lot of drinking involved in this week's show. I'll tell you that. And stay for Sandmeyer's hatred. And I mean hatred for the build-up to the NFL draft. It is quite comical. And we've turned Stretch, Matt Johnson, we think, into a degenerate golf gambler now. So I think Sandy and I have accomplished our goal in life to make him start betting on PGA golf, because he's already texting me today or us this week about who he should bet on the RBC Heritage Classic, which is, by the way, a fantastic tournament that's taking place this Thursday. We gave him all the particulars. We gave him all the favorites. Bet on Scotty, bet on Xander, bet on Ludwig. You'll be good to go. All right, what else do we got? When you're there on pucksports.com, again, membership page. If you're not a member, sign up to be a member. $5 a month, that's all it costs you. Not even a cup of coffee, for crying out loud. You get a discount if you sign up for a year. You get all of the free content we do here, Daily Puck Drop, all of our interviews, and then also all of the exclusive content, like the Sports Pit. Another episode of Dane Brugler's NFL Draft Countdown is out. We did a whole, speaking of mock drafts, should have had Sandmeyer on this one. We did a whole mock draft of the first round. So Dane went through every single team's pick and what their needs are, but also if he were in charge of said team, what he would go and what direction he would go in. So it's a fun listen. He goes through all of it. The pick at 18 warms my heart for Seattle. Not going to give it away. Go back in and listen to it, and you can watch it. I give you both the video and the audio of it. So Dane Brugler, that's up there. Sports Pit is up there. Our weekly conversation with our MLB insider, Ryan Divish, which will be tomorrow as well. All full episodes of the Divish podcast experience there for the Pucks Posse community. All right. Mariners start a road trip. We'll get into that before we talk to Jim Duquette here in a quick second. They've got 3 visits now. They got the Reds starting today, then the Blue Jays, and then the Red Sox. And they find themselves in a position right now it's just a terrible division, by the way. Underachieving, flawed division. Not one team in this division, by the way, has a run differential in the positive. All negative. But they get it underway today. Luis Castillo makes the start. His first start against his former team. When they traded him, he goes against a left-hander, Nick Lodolo. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Nick. He's a lefty. That means most likely Williamson is going to be starting today. Ben Williamson, who they just called up a few days ago. I would assume he starts today. I guess we'll wait and see when the lineup comes out, but one would think that he would start today. I was thinking back and about the trade of Luis Castillo before we talk to Duquette. And again, fair or unfair, we beat up this organization a lot. And specifically, we beat up Jerry Dipoto a lot. And a lot of times it's fair. I do think we try to take a step back and praise him for things that he has done well. Now, unfortunately, there's so much negativity around him at times that even when you try to slip in something positive, you're like, yeah, but he's a dick or something. So it's hard. It is a balancing act because it's almost like a disclaimer. Well, he hasn't improved the offense that much, but, he's done a good job with the pitching staff. And maybe sometimes we don't focus enough on the pitching staff and the job that he's done. Because there are a lot of positives that this organization has done, and he's been a part of it. He just has yet to be the guy that pushes them over the finish line. And I think that's what they're missing. I think it's not only they're missing it from a GM president standpoint, that guy to make the move or series of moves that pushes them over the top, that gets them to their ultimate goal, which is a World Series. I also think and this is the biggest blame, they lack an ownership that has the ability to push them over the finish line. That, to me, is the biggest factor. Anyways, just getting that out of the way, that's like the disclaimer. Let's praise him for the Castillo trade. Let me take a step back and really congratulate him on Luis Castillo. They fleeced them. They absolutely fleeced the Reds in that trade. He has been one of the most consistent, at times dominant starters this league has seen. Now, there's some worry that maybe he's tapering off just a little bit. Okay. If that's his B game, what we've seen so far this year, I'll take the B game from him. But this was such a runaway success of a trade. There is no other way to look at it. Think about what they traded, the Cincinnati Reds. And I'll just go break it down, what these guys are up to now. Let's just start with Marte, Noelvi Marte. He was the prize piece in this whole thing. Now, Marte may end up being good, but he suspended 80 games last season for performance-enhancing drugs. Was called up last week after tearing up AAA. He has yet to do anything in the bigs yet. Only 1 hit and 7 plate appearances. Levi Stroud, I think he's with the Orioles AAA team right now. He was the pitcher, was another name in that deal. Andrew Moore, another pitcher, 25 years of age. He's in AA last season between A and AA at a 3.79 ERA. And then Edwin Arroyo, he was a shortstop, second baseman, 21 years of age. He's in AA. Just saying, as much as we like to in Seattle, and I know our next guest, he'll probably nod in agreement, not so much of what the job he's done, but he's been in that position before as a GM. My God, no one ever praises you for the good trades. They always kill you for the bad trades. Let's just take a moment and praise Dipoto for that trade for Luis Castillo. It was they fleeced him, and he's going to get the ball here tonight or this afternoon against the Reds and his former team. Should be a fun day at the ballpark. All right, let's welcome him in. Again, he's going to love it that we actually praise a GM every now and again because he's like, I'm sick and tired of coming on here. All you guys do is bitch and moan about everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, he's our GM. He's the Puck Sports GM. That's Jim Duquette, MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM Channel 89. Follow him on social media, Jim Duquette, GM, former GM there of your New York Mets and the Orioles. How are you, sir?
Everything is good. Always, hey, throw a little love to the general managers. I really appreciate that. Doesn't happen enough. They take a lot of hits. Not only they take a lot of hits from their fans, they take the hits for the owners sometimes.
Yes. All right. So let me ask you before we get into, well, I'm going to get to in a second. Looking back at that trade that they pulled off a few years ago. I mean, you see what the Reds have. Yeah. Marte has done nothing. He's been suspended. He's been an utter disappointment. He was the prize piece, and meanwhile, Castillo's been sensational.
I mean, it was a great trade, and it made it even better because Castillo at the time was a really good starting pitcher. What I liked about it was that Jerry went ahead and got him signed up to a deal long term. And I know there are times where people can get critical, like, oh well, Castillo's on the decline. Well, that during this stretch that he is going to go on a decline, but he has stayed healthy. You knock on wood every time with these starting pitchers, but he stayed healthy too, and he's been he's off to a great start again, and he's just added experience to that rotation. He gives you innings. And they're usually quality innings too. So like you look at the fact that he's been able to continue to be a Mariner, beyond when he was going to be a free agent. That makes it even better, the trade itself. And, you don't always go in there thinking you're going to fleece the other, like you don't want to fleece the other team because now, all right, Cincinnati's not going to deal with you in the future. If, there's some things that, some players that they got that maybe don't work out. So eventually I think Marte, to your point, will be a good player, but he's one of those that you have to really wait on and dream on. And he just came up. I think he's won for his last 6. He just came on the scene there like a couple of days ago. He played well defensively. That's his calling card. But I thought he'd show more offense last year, and he really didn't. So, and that was partly because of the suspension.
Well, like the trades, I mean, ultimately, right, we always do the winners and losers of the trades. But ultimately, the trade should win for both teams. That's why you do a trade.
Right. And yeah, that's exactly right. I think that's where I was trying to go was, at the end of it, as long as you get the player that you wanted and he performs for you, that's really what, as a GM, you're there, that you want to have happen. And, you expect that, if you give up a couple of prospects, 1 or 2 might hit. You just don't like it to be out of balance. Right. So, there's a few deals, out there, and even ones that I've made in the past where you're like, oh, that did not work out at all. And, that's part of the business. If you've been in it long enough, you're going to make some bad trades. But, there are ones that when they go well, they deserve to be highlighted. And that's one of them.
Best trade you ever made?
Well, the one that I take the most pride in, like, so going back, if you remember a starting pitcher named Jeremy Guthrie.
Yeah.
Guthrie was a pretty darn good major league starting pitcher, but he had kind of worn out his welcome. He didn't pitch well when he was in Cleveland. And I went on to the Orioles as GM, a co-GM there. And we ended up we ended up claiming him on waivers for $20,000. It was such an easy thing. Like, he was a first round pick that got a lot of money by Cleveland, and they took him off the roster for some reason. We grabbed him. He ended up being in our rotation by like the 3rd start in April. And he ended up being one of our best starters that year, and really, in his Orioles career, he was a pretty good starter. So of like what we gave up, which was nothing, it was 20. At that point, I think it was $20,000 for a waiver claim for a guy that pitched the way he did. That was by far the best one.
All right, what's the one you'd like to have back?
Well, the one that I traded when I traded Scott Kazmir, that's the one that all Mets fans complain about. And they think Kazmir was turned into Tom Seaver. He was okay as a starting pitcher, but he wasn't a Hall of Famer. We thought he was going to be injured. We had enough of our medical people thought that he was going to need Tommy John and end up having to be a relief pitcher. And so it really wasn't about who we gave up. It was who the guy that we got back was a pitcher named Victor Zambrano who got hurt right after his 3rd start as a Met, and really never he had electric stuff. but he never was the same after needing surgery. And so that was unfortunate on that one. But, it happens. That's the thing. Like, there was a lot of things around that. Like, ownership was dictating some things. They wanted to reduce our payroll. We still needed to compete. Like, a lot of these things that people don't see behind the scenes. You're having these conversations with owners, and that's what this is why I can relate to what goes on in Seattle with the Mariners. Your owner comes to you behind the scenes and says, "This is what your payroll is. This is all you have to work with. Go make it work." And you're the
Right.
GM. You're like, "Oh, well, no, I can't." What are you gonna do? Tell them, "No, you can't do it that way." Okay, well, I'm gonna find somebody else. Like, you make it work within the restrictions that are given to you.
When is it too early to start thinking about a trade? I mean, it's April 15th.
Yeah.
Everyone still thinks they have an idea or a belief that maybe they're still in it. There's probably some teams that realistically know that they are not. I think Seattle, with dealing with some of the injuries they've dealt with now with Robles and with Ryan Bliss and all these guys, that it's led people, hey, if there aren't internal candidates, what are the external candidates? When do GMs start sniffing around? Is it too early now or not?
It is too early now. I think that when it's not too early, like teams like the White Sox are in rebuild. You look at their roster and say, okay, is there a player or two? Is there a starter? Is there a reliever? Or is there a position player? They have Luis Robert that would be of interest. Now, he's off to a slow start. He was injury prone last year. And you have to, and some people say, well, yeah, go get Luis Robert. He's an all-star, former all-star, everything else. The problem is the White Sox, they need a huge haul to trade him. That's their one chip this year that they're hoping gets off to a really good start. And so it takes time for that to happen. And so, he'd be one guy for Seattle that'd be a great fit. Miami's on a rebuild. They have Sandy Alcantara. He's off to, a bit of a uneven start, coming back from Tommy John surgery. And he's not going to be traded until he's pitching well and are able to watch how he bounces back. So, there's certain things like last year, Dylan Cease was traded early, from the White Sox to the Padres. So was Luis Ariz going from Miami to San Diego. Those are rare, circumstances, and they were just because those two teams were in the rebuild. Coincidentally, they're the same two teams that are in rebuilds this year. They don't have as much talent available now.
Yeah, I mean, the White Sox would just be wise to hold on to that forever, right up until the deadline, just so they can
absolutely
maximize the return for him. And so we'll see. And he feels like he'll be on the move, but there's no rush for the White Sox to certainly do it now. Let me. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about the torpedo bats, and I said, "Hey, man, I need a FedEx like overnight for everyone on the Mariners team to get one." Now they did bring them in. Players used it the other day, or more than a few days ago. Some liked it, some did not like it. Rosarina was like the first one that said, "Yeah, I'm in." Cal Raleigh was like, "I need a few more swings with it." Well, he takes a few more swings, puts it in the rotation that night, hits a home run. He's got 3 home runs with the thing. Everybody should be using it. Everyone.
If you can get them. I talked to the company, the founder of the company last week. He said they can't keep them in stock. They've had so many orders for them. They're back ordered, and if you didn't get your orders in early, you're going to have to wait till they. They're just every one that they make. Is going out the door as quickly as they're making it. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's not for everybody because I have seen some guys that like, okay, I'm done with the bat because it hasn't been producing the number of hits or homers that they had hoped, right? So it is an individual thing. It's I think it's like somebody had estimated, I think 35 or 40% of the league at this point are using the torpedo bat. And Victus which is the main company who we spoke to, the CEO, he said of that 35%, let's say the league they have about I think between Victus and Marucci, which is they're owned by the same company, they have about 60% of the league of that group. So they're right now, they've cornered the market and they're riding this thing out to bigger things. And by the way, I think it's long overdue that the hitters at least got some little advantage. If
Sure.
it's not a huge advantage, at least give them a little advantage.
Well, and as you know, and I think everyone knows that watches and follows baseball, whether it actually helps you or not, if they have the mentality as they go into the box that they think it helps them, then hell, it's worth it.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think I used this quote 2 weeks ago. Pat Murphy, the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, he said, my old arse will tell me that it's more about the magician than it is the wand.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that comment. If that's not the truth, it's definitely more about the magician than the wand.
How the Mariners, they've righted the ship a little bit. They had a very good homestand, taking 2 or 3 of the Astros. They sweep the Rangers. First look at the Rangers. They're off now to 8-8. They've kind of righted the ship here. It's not a great division, but what do we make of this team after 16?
Well, I was glad to see that. Obviously, those, the first 2 times you match up against, the other teams in your own division and really who you're going to be competing with for the division, and they performed really well. Now they go on the road. This is a really good series, I think. Cincinnati has started to play a little better as well. They're going to be in the mix, I think, for a postseason berth in a wild card berth anyway. They've been playing well. So, but I'm pleased there to see with the Mariners, that the offense starts to perk up a little bit. You mentioned Raleigh. I mean, well, obviously with the injuries too, that's really hurt him. But I think Rosarena is a legitimate major league hitter, and we can't underestimate having him for a full year. That's going to be a huge help. Obviously, Julio with his power numbers, that's off to a better start. So, Polanco's been fantastic.
Unreal.
I mean, I can't believe it. I mean, this is, I said this to you last year. Oh, when they traded for him, like, hey, this is going to be a middle of the lineup bat. I love this guy, and he did nothing. That made me look bad, right? So I'm not going to fall for the same trick second time. But at least early on, he's looked good. I think he can continue though. I think there's legitimate reason to think that he's going to be the same the type of player now that he's a year removed, a year further away from his knee injury.
Yeah, and it's just on the knee injury too, but now he's got this little side issue that he's been dealing with, so they're not letting him hit from the right side.
Right.
I don't know how big of a deal it is, but we'll see. But yeah, he's off to a great start, and you know what? Good for him. Good for him. Everybody panned that move when they brought him back. I mean, I did. Everybody did. And I'll be honest with you, the team didn't believe in him, because if the team believed in him, they would have picked up the option. But they didn't pick up the option. So I mean, it's but it still was a flawed decision to make him the third baseman, because it's clear he can't play over there. He probably never going to play over there. Maybe later, just a spot start here and there. But I think that knee injury is really, factors in and makes it problematic for him. Now, I think you've seen the news. They called up one of their prize prospects, Ben Williamson, a third baseman. He has not had a lot of time down in the minors, very few games and innings. He is known for his defense. He's a very good glove. Everyone who has seen him and watches him says it will no doubt translate to the big leagues. He has gotten better as a hitter, Jim, but he lacks power. And that's, forever you've always wanted your third baseman to have power. I'm not asking you to give me a scouting breakdown on Ben Williamson, but just in terms of calling up a player like this, who has had very few games, what do you what's the risk here now with him calling him up so soon like this?
Well, I think partly, and this happens around the league, hopefully it won't happen, to him there. But I think with, I'm going to pull up a little report and see what I have on him too. But, I think with him, what you want to make sure that he does is he does what the reports are and what everyone tells you, which is catch the ball, right? And that's what they really could use over there. Like, you're not. And, let's not make the expectation here that you're expecting him to give you offense, right? So he was they signed him over slot 2023, right? So, he's more of a hit tool than he is a power tool. So don't look for power. Look for hopefully him being able to put the ball in play. And he makes a ton of contact. So I think those are some of the things you can look for in addition to the defense. Those are Those are some of the scouting reports that I've seen on him here. So, we'll see how it translates, but you don't want to put an awful lot of extra. There are other guys, obviously, in their system that you look at and you go, okay, well, they have, there's more upside to the Harry Fords of the world, like the Cole Youngs. Like you're expecting more out of them than let's say Williamson. But I
Sure.
think with him, just catch the ball, do your job that way, and if he gives you more offense, which he might, it'll be a bonus.
Let's switch gears over the National League West for a second. The Dodgers, they got off an 8-0 start. Since then, they're 4-6. Meanwhile, the Padres are electric. They are off to just an unbelievable start. They won again last night with another big night from Fernando Tatis Jr. They are 11-0 at home. All this offseason, Dodgers, they're coming off the World Series. They're making all these moves, but yet they're the they're the Padres. They look like a more complete team than the Dodgers.
They're off to an amazing start. I think there's been, a lot more when you kind of look at their success. It's been better than I thought, but most people, especially because Darvish was hurt, Joe Musgrove's going to be out for a good portion of the year too. So, there's some things that that I wasn't expecting out of the gate. They've always had a really good pen. Their bullpen's like really good. And Cease and King, like their rotation's going to be pretty good, I think. We'll see about their fourth and fifth stars. Their offense is what has been fascinating. Now Tatis, when he's healthy, you've seen him too. Like this guy is an impactful guy, right? I mean, he can be he's a star in the sport if he could stay healthy. So like he can carry you. We'll wait and see if they can maintain it. They're doing some platoons out there. They got Jason Hayward platooning out there in the outfield. Like there's some things that you go, I don't know how long that can last, but they're playing well. I'll tell you the other thing that stood out to me. Did you see how many people were in that park last night?
It's packed. It's packed every night.
God, 47,000
night. It's like it's just like a carnival. And first of all, it's a great ballpark. It's just a
great scene.
And in America's finest city, by the way. And it's downtown. It's in a perfect location. And it's a party every night there. That's what makes it so fun to watch them.
It is. It's one of those places, sometimes you see ballpark and people show up and it looks like it's like an overstuffed sandwich. Like there's like 8 people and 6 seats. Like what? Like how are they squeezing that many people in? But then you look out in the downtown area, the apartment buildings across the street. They're out watching the game. Like it's just crazy. It's so much fun there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's how bad, or how, maybe I shouldn't say how bad. I'm going to go back to AOS for a second. How flawed is this division? Because I think you look at it, you see what Seattle has done here in the last 2 series, and you go 8-8. My God, I don't know how good they are, but I'll tell you what, Texas doesn't look that great. They look beatable. Houston looks beatable. I don't buy the Angels, and we'll see about the A's, but this seems like a very gettable division.
I think there's 3 teams that are in it. The Angels, I'm not believing in it. I think the Athletics are better, but and they have a slow start. Seems like every single year they'll get better as the season goes on. But I think it's a 3-teamer. The A's may sneak in there at some point. But like you said, Texas is flawed. Their rotation's injured. Their bullpen there's a lot of question marks, and I can't believe their offense is I think going to be good. They are not off to a very good start.
They're terrible.
I mean, I can't believe that. So. And then with the Astros, the thing that people kind of underestimate, I know you've seen a lot of them over the years, and they've been a thorn out there, obviously. But when you lose Bregman and Tucker from a lineup, and you replace them with uncertainty or young players, like there's going to be some inconsistencies there. So, like Framber Valdez hasn't been off to a great start. Like there's some things there that so. They have some flaws as well, to your point. And so I think that again, this division is going to go and be very competitive, and being a little bit over 500 until you get to the trade market. And I think that like it usually is, when you get to July, whoever makes that key trade, I think that'll be the difference.
Last thing for you, what about the decision to add Aaron Judge to Team USA and make him a captain?
You know what? It was like almost an obvious one. Like once he says that he's interested in playing in the event, which is a great event. I know we've talked about this, but the WBC is fantastic. Yeah, so when he said he's available, I thought it was good. We had Mark DeRosa on my show Sunday, and he this is before they told us about Judge, but he talked to Mike Trout, who was the captain of the last one, and he was like discussing what his thoughts were, and Trout was like, "Oh yeah, that's the guy. Like he's the best player in the sport. He's the best, U.S. born player currently in the game, and so why not if he's willing to do it?" So I'll be curious who else they pick. I can't wait because he's gonna he talked about making a couple of selections with the roster, like in 23, Bobby Witt Jr. was a bench player and he barely played. Right now, he admitted to us, and we were kind of critical of that. He should have played more. He barely played. So he's not going to make that same mistake, but he's not going to have superstar players sitting on the bench. He's going to have more role players like a Tommy Edman.
Sure.
That type of player is going to, they're going to ask him. They'll ask players like that to be a bench player, a role player, that they're accustomed to playing multiple positions and can move around.
Yeah. You are the best. Thanks for doing it every single week. Jim Duquette, MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 89. Follow him on social media, Jim Duquette, GM. All right. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Jim, as always.
Talk next week. All right. Thanks.
There he is, Jim Duquette, our GM here on Puck Sports. Former GM of the Orioles and the Mets, talking about all things baseball, the American League West, the division, the Dodgers, everything. Padres, all of it, every single week there with Jim Duquette covering Major League Baseball. All right, we pause. We switch gears over to the NFL draft. It is a little over a week away. Of course, every Tuesday we talk to Danny Kelly from The Ringer. Our NFL draft coverage, though, brought to you by America's Greatest Brewery.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic-style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
That's damn right. And joining us right now is Danny Kelly from The Ringer. Danny B. Kelly. Follow him on Twitter and Blue Sky. Senior staff writer, Ringer Fantasy Football Show, Ringer NFL Draft Show. Brought to you by Georgetown Brewery, our NFL draft coverage, and their new tavern beer. Easy drinking, domestic-style lager made with Pacific Northwest barley and Yakima Valley hops. Brewed by our good friends at Georgetown Brewery, makers of Manny's Pale Ale, Bodie's Off IPA, and, of course, Rogers Pilsner. Well, we are 9 days away from the start of the NFL draft. America's wet dream is almost here.
Is that what we call it?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to call. That's going to be the title of the draft show next week. The NFL draft wet dream.
Wow. Graphic, but I like it.
Graphic, but it fits. I think there's people out there, Danny, that love the build up to the NFL draft and the draft more than they actually like the NFL season.
Well, yeah, because you're selling hope at this time of year. You're selling actual hope, whereas during the season, once the season starts, your team sucks, and then it's all downhill from there. At this time of year, you can sit there and to use another term that I like to use, roster bait. Look at the roster and just imagine what could happen with this team, with these players.
Oh man,
nothing
fit
better.
A guy in here, fit a guy in there. I just love all of it. I got buddies who hate it, who hate all the build up to it. No, don't hate the draft. Love the draft. Don't hate the build up to it.
Yeah.
I was watching the All 22 and this Booker's got a big ass and a good first step. And I think they're like, okay, whatever. Just get me to the draft.
Yeah.
I can just watch it and all that.
That's fair.
I love all of it because to me, it's just, it's the fun time. It's just make believe world. And it's like, I get a kick out of it.
Yeah. I would say maybe the build up to the draft is a little long, gets a little long, but, maybe by a few weeks. If it was a few weeks earlier, I think it would be the sweet spot there because you can't just have it right away.
Did we talk about this last week? Or maybe, you know what? I think it was the old Brit. I think Rob Staten brought this up.
Mm-hmm.
That he feels like it should be sooner.
Yeah.
That it shouldn't be this long. That you could really do it really pretty fast, like almost after the Super Bowl, pretty quickly.
Well, I don't know, but don't most or many of the other leagues hold their drafts like during the seasons? Like some of them do, where it's at least not its own like huge event. I want to say the NBA
is right during the playoffs.
Right. It's like not
Right?
It's completely different. I honestly don't know because I don't follow this.
I'm gonna look it up. Hold on, NBA draft 2025. I believe it is, and MLB is.
Yeah, I was gonna say the baseball draft, and the baseball draft is so many rounds. Most people can't really pay attention to that.
no one's ever heard of any of them.
The baseball draft is in July, like middle. Know, whatever.
And the NBA, I should have known this. June 25th. I mean, it's right in the heart of the playoffs.
I find that funny. I mean, I think honestly, those leagues are doing it incorrectly because they could probably make their own
you can make it this spectacle
tentpole event.
Yeah, and that's what the NFL has done. I mean, and that's why I kind of disagreed with Rob. I understand his point on it, but I'm like, yeah, but you got to look. You're looking at it from an NFL fan or maybe even a media perspective.
Yeah.
You have to look at it as a marketing perspective.
Sure.
They get the Super Bowl's over, and then it's The Bachelor. We're going to get to the season finale, and it's a whole buildup to it.
The NFL is not content to own Sundays. They want to own every day forever.
Every day. Yes. No, you're right.
Want to own our whole lives.
I'm telling you right now. I firmly believe this in my heart of hearts. I'm going to be 89 years old. You and I are going to be doing the show. I'm going to have a breathing tube in. I'm going to have that thing that's in your the oxygen tank.
Sure.
Danny, what do you got at the 5th pick? And the 68 team NFL draft. I think NFL is going to be played year round.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think when I think it's going to be year round. I don't think they're going to take a time off. I think it's going to be year round. Now, how does that work? I don't know, but I'm just convinced if they can find a way to play year round NFL football, they will.
I mean, it's really a matter of, can we figure out a way to get injuries healed more quickly, right? Like if they could, as medical advances happen in the next couple decades, and probably will at a fast rate. These guys will be able to they'll be able to heal in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then player safety won't be as big of an issue. And then all of a sudden we're playing full year, all year round, 162 game seasons.
You ever see the movie Gattaca?
A long time ago. I can't remember it, though.
Yeah, whatever. They had a wand, and then you'd have an injury, and they put a wand over you, and all of a sudden you're healed. That's what I'm talking about.
The NFL a Bacta tank from Star Wars. the tanks that those guys.
That's where they put in Luke after he was out on the frozen Hoth.
We're kind of halfway there. We've got the hyperbaric chambers and all these things. You got the
whatever LeBron's on. Just give what LeBron's on.
Like Russell Wilson spends millions of dollars a year just to take care of his body or whatever. I mean, just get him a Bacta tank, and then we can play football all year round.
Are you looking forward to when Russell Wilson doesn't spend the millions of dollars anymore and just lets himself go? And he looks like the what's the Eddie Murphy movie where he's the nutty professor? He just becomes the big fat. He's just this big fat tub of goo.
At some point,
Sierra's like, I'm out.
Do you think he'll ever just reach that point, the point of no return, where he's just like, I'm tired of the no sleep, no time for sleep thing. I'm just gonna start sleeping a lot,
eating.
Now I'm gonna take it easy.
I'm gonna start drinking heavily. I'm eating all this crap. I'm not working out anymore.
Yeah,
smoking.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Wilson
right.
Just
I want an athlete to pick up smoking again.
As an adult,
like Lynn Dawson. I want a picture of Russell Wilson final year with the Giants halftime. They're losing to the Cowboys,
drinking a beer,
and he's in there with a Winston.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
When men were men.
Goddamn right, Danny. When men were men, they ate red meat, they drank bourbon. They stepped out on their wives and they smoked.
A boozy lunch.
That's what I want from you and one of you draft experts in the write up on a player. In the intangibles, I wanted to read that. Philander,
stepped out,
smokes, drinks bourbon,
maintains several mistresses.
That's my guy. Take him at 19.
Yeah.
Do that. That's what I want. All right, so it's winding here, or almost here.
Yeah.
I did this exercise with Dane Brugge. I want to do it with you, but we're not going to go through every pick. I want to go through the top 10,
okay,
and then I want to go and do the Seahawks there at 18. So I want assuming that the number 1 pick in the Danny Kelly mock draft will be Cam Ward.
Yeah,
going to Tennessee, right?
I mean, that's how it feels. That's what everyone thinks is happening right now.
Right. Could there? God, would it be? What if they just say, "No, we're taking Hunter"?
Weirder things have happened.
Really?
But no, it feels like they're taking Ward. I think I heard they canceled like all the other interviews that they had and stuff. They're basically kind of locked in on him at this point.
Then what do you think Cleveland does at number 2? Is it obvious that they go Hunter here?
Yeah, that's where the winds are blowing. I remember, I think maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Shedeur being the pick there. Now it feels much more common to see Travis Hunter. And honestly, like, it makes probably more sense for the Browns to take a guy that is actually truly a generational prospect. You don't see guys like this come in to the NFL, every couple of decades. It's like we rarely ever see a guy who can play both sides of the football. And so
sure.
I think if he goes to the Browns too, it'd be very interesting because maybe they'll play him at receiver more. Maybe he'll just be like a full-time receiver.
This was a great debate this morning on the drive over to baseball camp with my 11-year-old NFL draft guru. And we were discussing the draft, and he and I were laughing. We can't believe, as two people that have made the trek over to Pullman many, many times, we still laugh that Cam Ward's going to be the number 1 overall pick.
Okay.
Then we got to, I said, what do you think Cleveland's going to do at number 2? You think they go Hunter? Yeah, I think they go Hunter. I'm like, well, you know what? Wide receiver? No, Dad. Come on. He's he basically just said, what the fuck are you talking about? He's a better defensive
corner.
He's a better corner. He's going to play corner. He said, but I think he's our, no. He's playing corner. So that's from an 11-year-old who was
spoken,
who was sleepy and just ate a breakfast sandwich on his way to baseball camp before us. What do you think it is though? They draft him. They just say position. They just say, what's the position that comes up? Is it wide receiver or DB? Or does it matter?
That's a good question. What do they put on the screen? What do they write on the card? They probably write both. Okay. I think I'm starting to lean. I've been pilled for receiver pilled, offense pilled over the last couple of months. That he's such a good receiver that they basically have to play him at receiver. I think you primarily play at receiver and then sprinkle him in on defense in certain situations and certain packages. I don't know how that's going to work logistically in terms of where he's going to be in meetings. I think that's like the coaching staff is going to have to figure that out in terms of how he's practicing, where he's practicing, who he's meeting with, all that stuff. But that's just details. And I think he's such a good receiver that you kind of just have to play him there. He'll help whatever quarterback they've got going this year. Flacco, whoever it ends up being starting for them. Now I'm trying to remember who they signed. Who did they sign? Flacco. They traded for Puckett.
Yeah. But they got Puckett, Puckett and Flacco at 98.
Jeez, what a freaking combo!
That's a great quarterback room. And Kenny Pickett should be outlawed in the NFL. Why, you ask? Because he wears gloves. Stupid.
Small hands.
What? Just come on.
But yeah, I like that. Then they can put together a foundation to have when they actually get a good quarterback and drop him into that situation.
Okay. All right. So then we got, let's see, what do we got there? We got number 3. This is where they say where the draft could turn. This is my favorite. Where the draft could really turn.
The draft really starts, right?
Yeah, this is where it really starts. The Giants basically have every washed-up quarterback in the league on their roster. Many feel this could be where Sanders goes. I think he'd just have a private workout yesterday.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
Which people have made the connection, and I think it does make sense, which means a lot of the time an owner is stepping in and saying, hey, what's going on with our quarterback situation, guys? Why are we not meeting with Shedeur Sanders? Why this, that, or the other thing? And I think Albert Breer reported the other day that he's struggling to find anyone who will tell him that Shedeur is a first-round talent. He doesn't think he's going to go in the first 3 picks. He might not even go in the top 10. And the only way that's going to change is if ownership somehow gets involved. And that's kind of how it always is with the draft, where you have the team likes a guy. They have basically their board set. They're feeling really good about the board. And then the owner comes in and is like, starts, creating chaos. So I don't know. I don't know what that all means. It might just be a smokescreen in a way to kind of create some leverage to have someone try and trade up to that spot or whatever it may be. I tend to lean, and this is almost the exact same argument I have with like the Browns. Take a really good blue chip player and not a quarterback. And I think that's Abdul Carter at this spot. So I'm kind of sticking with that. I mean, and they would have one of the better defensive lines in the NFL if they grab him. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm with you. I'm with you because there's a gap between Sanders, who's the second best quarterback, and then the gap between Carter, who many could regard as one of the best, if not the best player in the draft. I would just take the guy who's the
blue
best
chip guy. Worry about you've already done the hedging that you need to do at the quarterback position with Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston. Go that way.
All right, the New England Patriots are on the clock at number 4, 4-13 a year ago. Where do the Patriots go?
This one's tough. If it was me personally, I think I would lean Ted McMillan from Arizona, who I think could be
what a perfect fit. Tucson to Foxborough. What a great fit.
It would make me nervous from a fan of Ted McMillan to go to the Patriots just because of the horrendous job they've done drafting and developing receivers. We remember Jalen Polk from last year, who, God, one of the worst rookie seasons for a receiver I can ever remember, at least for a second rounder. And the list goes on. N'Keal Harry. I don't know. There's tons of guys that they've really messed up. But
God, I love N'Keal Harry coming out of ASU. Yeah. I mean, pounding the table for the Seahawks to get him. That just shows you I don't know anything.
No one knows anything.
I know.
No one knows anything.
I know, but
Bill Belichick picked this man.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick, when he doesn't know, who knows anything?
But if Bill Belichick had his girlfriend on his side now, then he would have nailed the pick.
She probably would have looked at some of the advanced analytics for N'Keal Harry and been like, "Yo, Bill."
How about that side story where she is like the de facto chief operating officer for UNC football?
The whole thing.
Oh my God, it's great.
Just what? I don't know.
She's reading emails.
Thing.
She's making the fucking PR department
she's copying on every communique that
scrub comments. They have to scrub comments if it says anything about little Billy.
Oh my God.
Make sure when we introduce Steve that we just that he got the job for his qualifications, not because he's Bill's kid. Oh my God, it's cool. All right, I got sidetracked. So you think Ted McMillan at 4?
Well, are we doing what I would do or what I think?
Yeah, what your wife would do, Danny? That's what you would do.
I mean, she'd probably go with Ted McMillan too, I think.
Okay, so you're going McMillan?
Yeah. It would either be that or one of the tackles, but I'm going to go Ted McMillan.
Okay. All right. So
I have conviction that Ted McMillan is a good player.
All right. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Where do they go at number 5? You got Will Campbell's there. You got Mason Graham.
I mean, the chalk pick here is Mason Graham.
Yeah.
And I think it makes sense. They should just hit a double, get a good player. You know what I mean? Like, don't mess around and
doubles are sexy.
Get better on the defensive line. This is a doubles type of draft, I think, across the board.
Ooh.
You just want to hit a double. You don't want to strike out. Don't swing for the fences.
Hold on, I'm writing this down.
Yeah. I mean, I could keep going with the metaphors here.
It's wonderful. I'm going to use this for my baseball team. Guys, we want to hit doubles, not
get on base. You just be Ichiro.
Hey, Timmy. Yeah. I know the kid throws hard. What I need you to do here is we need you to get you on. So you're going to, when the ball's coming, just lean out a little bit. Take one right in the side.
Is that could you get in trouble ethically speaking?
Yeah. Well, of course you can.
I'm not
in Little League, if you said, "Hey, Timmy," and Timmy's like, "Hey, I'm crying and I broke my elbow." Well, what happened? Right. Coach said for me to lean into the pitch. Oh, yeah, I think you get in trouble.
Okay, sure. I'm not well versed in the coaching, the Little League coaching.
It's frowned upon, Danny.
Right. Okay, that's why.
But sometimes necessary.
Yeah, sure.
To get on base.
All right. So we got the Raiders.
You got the Raiders. Now come on. It's got to be Genti, right?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, do it. Let's do it.
Pete. I mean, Pete spent months wearing John Schneider down, trying to get them to trade for Marshawn Lynch because he thought he could be a formative, identity forming type of player for them. He's going to give them what they want in the run game. They went and traded for a veteran quarterback in Geno Smith, who is going to raise the floor of what this team can do. They don't need to compete, but man, it would be proof of concept. It would really buy them a lot of, I think, credibility with Las Vegas fans in general, that if they could go out and compete. I don't think they're going to win the division. But I think, with Geno there and Genty there, they could have some good balance on offense and defense. And they already have the makings of a decent offensive line. So
it's good back. All right. So he's off the board there at number 6, Ashton Genty. The Jets, who are one of the most stable franchises in the National Football League, at number 7. The Jets would then turn their attention to who?
This one's tough. I think because it's the Jets and because they just drafted a left tackle last year in Olu Fashanu, I'm going to go with Armand Membu, who for me, it's just a razor's edge between Membu and Campbell. It would not surprise me at all if Membu goes ahead of Campbell, because Campbell's arms are short. I think the wingspan thing is probably overblown a little bit, but I saw this actually from Dane Brugler. I think he's the shortest wingspan of any tackle in the first round and the top in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's a T-Rex. That's what they call it.
So that's some team's going to balk at that. So, you know what I mean? And Membu, for the record, is not he also doesn't have the longest arms. I think his are 33 and change. But he has a little bit longer wingspan. He's just a different type of player. He fills into that right tackle spot perfectly for the Jets. This is the type of pick where you take him, you can build a foundation. Obviously they're going to be running a lot with Justin Fields. He's good in the run game. I don't know. It just makes sense. I think I like Will Campbell slightly more, but for this particular team, it makes sense.
All right. Next up at number 8, as we round up the top 10, and we'll get to the Seahawks here at number 18 in just a quick second. Number 8, Carolina, the Panthers, 5-12 a year ago. Bryce Young bounce back. What direction do the Panthers turn into?
I'm looking at Jalen Walker for Georgia. I've been tempted to give them Tyler Warren at this spot. I think Will Campbell, of course, is an option to just get more good. The more offensive linemen you have, the better for every team basically out there. But Jalen Walker, this was one of the worst defenses of all time last year. They traded away Brian Burns a couple years ago. They just need to keep adding to the defense. And so Jalen Walker for me is a really good player. One of my favorite players in this class. So,
okay. All right, so you like that. All right, then who's up next? Number 9, we got New Orleans. The Saints, could they go? We haven't. Sanders is not there. Sanders still. Is Sanders off the board?
No, he's not. I think the Saints are such wild cards every year, and you never know what to do with them. I think Derek Carr's situation complicates things. I don't think Rattler showed a ton last year in terms of he's going to be their long-term starter. I guess we can go Shadur here. I don't know if that's. I think there's such a wild card. I don't know. I don't feel strongly that he'll be the guy for them. In fact, I think Dart is an option too.
Ooh.
And
the 11-year-old is convinced that Jackson Dart, by the way, the NFL draft guru, 11-year-old, that Dart will be the best quarterback.
Oh,
just
okay.
FYI.
That's good to know. Yeah. Just let me write that down real quick. Let me
write that down and say. And I said, why? He goes, Jackson. His name's Jackson Dart. How can he not be good?
Sometimes Puckett is just that simple.
I can't argue against that.
No, I'm going to do determinism.
Yeah. So we got Sanders to the Saints. All right, we round out the top 10 with the Bears of Chicago.
All right, I'm going to go Will Campbell here.
Oh, that's
kind
a great fit.
Kind of a steal for the Bears, honestly.
Yeah, great fit.
Option. I think their left tackle is going into the final year of his contract. Yeah. He could be the left tackle of the future. If that doesn't work out, giving them a solid guard to give Caleb Williams, some better stability in the interior is not going to hurt anything. They want to run the football with Ben Johnson. I mean, the Lions' identity was built around their offensive line.
Yeah.
And if they can get a good tackle at the spot at number 10,
I'm
all for it.
Just fits. Gritty offensive lineman named Will in Chicago. Come on. Let's go. All right. So now we're just going to go right to 18.
The Seahawks?
Let's go right to 18. Your Seattle Seahawks. Now, just assume everyone that you want is still on the board. All right.
Let's see.
So number 18. Dun, 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 whatever that little sounder is that they do.
This is who I want? or who
this is who you want.
Man,
number 18.
So if Tyler Warren is there, if he's still on the board, I would be very excited to take Tyler Warren.
Oh, yes.
He's just immediate fan favorite.
Of
I
course.
saw Lance Zierling, who does all the scouting reports for NFL.com. He's great at this.
Yeah.
He wrote that that Warren has best player on the field energy. He plays with best guy on the field energy. And I just can't get that out of my mind because it's so true. You watch him and it's just like he is a maniac in the best way. He does a little bit of everything for them, run after the catch. He snapped a football and then caught a touchdown on the same play last year.
And he's just got high energy. He's just like he's noticeable right away on the field. Yeah. Just absolutely right from the get-go.
Super versatile. I don't think Fant is really what they wanted him to be. I don't think he's going to be that way. He just like in this offense, what they're wanting to do, he can block. He can, he can run after the catch in terms of the screen game, good in the red zone. There's just a lot of value there. Tight end is, generally speaking, first round, especially top 10 tight ends have not panned out. But I don't know, in the middle of the first round, especially in a year like this, I'm fine with taking a tight end at that spot.
Yeah. Okay. There it is. There's the exclusive Danny Kelly wet dream mock draft.
Wow. We're roster rating about the Seahawks.
Hey, I love it. I love it how you phrase that. This is fun. I love it. We'll do it again next week, and next week is for real. What do you guys got planned next week there at the Ringer?
We have a live show in Chicago that I will be traveling early part of the week. I actually should talk to you about schedule for next week.
Sure.
I'm actually more open on Thursday and Friday if you want me.
Oh, well, sure. Hey, the way you say that, I'm more open on Thursday and Friday if you want me. We can do this off the air. We don't need to. We can privately.
We can talk. We can text. But
snap me.
Yeah, we got a final. I got my final mock draft coming out. I got my update to 100 and the draft guide coming out here next week. We're doing a live show in Chicago, and then the draft starts on Thursday, and I'm doing live grades, not live, but like I'm doing grades from the first round on Thursday night. Everyone loves a grade. Everyone loves grading things immediately. All the grades end up being really accurate, especially mine.
Of course.
So, that's what we're doing.
All right. Thank you, Danny. As always, we look forward to it coming up next week. Danny Kelly from The Ringer. Give him a follow on social media. Danny B. Kelly there on Twitter and Blue Sky, senior staff writer. Ringer NFL Draft Show. Our NFL Draft coverage, again, brought to you by Georgetown Brewery and their new Tavern Beer. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Danny.
Sounds good, man.
There we go. Danny Kelly. He'll join us again next week as we count down to the NFL Draft. And I think we're going to do it again. I don't want to promise it yet because I don't want, if schedules don't work out for people and then they're like, well, I can't do it. I don't want to say we're going to do it for sure an NFL live draft show like we did last year, which I thought was a wild success. We went like 3-4 hours. Mike Garafolo was in the studio. I mean, we had a bunch. I'm like 90% we're going to do it. But I just want to leave that 10% that we may not, but most likely we'll do it. As I mentioned yesterday, today, tomorrow, tomorrow, abbreviated shows because the girls are out of town. I've got shuffling my kid to baseball camp, so we got to end every show today here at 11. We'll do the same thing tomorrow. No gym tomorrow, but we will have Divish. We'll talk to Rob, but we'll be off at 11, and then no show Thursday and Friday. So nothing on Thursday or Friday. Back full slate of shows coming up on Mondays. Of course, we count down to the NFL Draft. All right, let's wrap it up here on another edition of the Daily Puck Drop with, of course, Hey, What the Puck, which is brought to you by Restoration One, which is your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated, make them your first call when these damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online, North Seattle franchise. All right. What do we got here? No Canzano today, as I mentioned, because we're off early. And Canzano, we had to move him to 11. He'll be back next week. And again, NFL Draft Show. Hopefully we're doing it next week. Again, no show this Thursday and Friday. I'm going to go back to the Mariners here for a quick second. hell, I am as disappointed in anyone what transpired this offseason. I am going to allow myself, because this division is so shitty, at 8-8 to kind of dare to dream a little bit. Thanks, Graz, for that, and just wonder. This might be the year 85 or 86 wins this thing because it's so bad. I would just say this. We can all still be immensely frustrated at what they did not do and how flawed they still are as a baseball team. But you still are a fan, and you'll come back later and you'll say, well, you're just giving them what they want. What I want is for them to make the playoffs and make some noise, and maybe it wakes up the ownership, for God's sakes. But what you've seen so far of them play the Astros and the Rangers, the two teams that they were going to compete against the most, I mean, there's no difference. In fact, they're better than them. Now, when the Rangers offense wakes up a little bit, well, we shall see. But their pitching staff has hit a bunch of injuries. Now, Seattle's weathered some injuries right now, and they don't need any more to pile up. Just saying, I know it's frustrating. I'm as frustrated as everyone. I'm upset with how they've handled everything, but I am going to kick back and sit back and just enjoy it as much as I can because I just want them to win. And they're in a bad division. That's the thing that's working out so well for them. That these guys are these teams are not, the Angels are going to fall apart. Look at their starting rotation. That's not going to last. The A's, I think, are better than people think. So I think the A's are worth watching as the season goes on. Rangers, wait and see if the offense can get going. But if these guys can just stay afloat, maybe they'll make a move here at the deadline. But right now, what I've seen so far, they're right there. They're right there. They're in a great position because of this division. All right, that's it for Hey, What the Puck. I guess the point is don't give up hope. It's brought to you by Restoration One in North Seattle. It's your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, mold damage with their property restoration services. It is locally and owned. Give them a call, 206-817-8917. Visit them online, restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Big thanks to everybody watching and listening today. Apologies for the abbreviated show, but I've got to be Uber Dad and take my kid around everywhere right now. Big thanks to Limback Lumber, Georgetown Brewery. Check out their new tavern beer, please, today at your local bar, and, of course, georgetownbeer.com, and, of course, restoration1.com. Today's Daily Puck Drop, you can find it up on YouTube. When you're there, please subscribe to the channel. Also find the Daily Puck Drop on your favorite podcast platforms. And, of course, always up at pucksports.com. When you're there, please sign up to become a Pucks Posse member. $5 a month. You support all the free content we do here daily and our exclusive content as well, like our baseball coverage with Ryan Divish, our MLB Insider, our NFL draft coverage with Dane Brugler, and, of course, the Sports Pit with Steve Sandmeyer and Matt Stretch Johnson. And we're producing a podcast. The Graz with Gas Take 5 podcast, which is available right now on all your favorite podcast platforms and YouTube. Just search Graz with Gas Take 5. New episodes drop every single Monday, and you can check it out at pucksports.com. Thank you to one and all. We will talk to you tomorrow. As always, promise to be better.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!